Good morning. My name is Lisa Medley, for those of you that don't know me, and I am wearing more and more hats every week. So one of the hats that I wear is looking over the youth ministry. So that is being tended to this morning, so I can be here. And in my life, when I'm not here, I serve as what I call a sustainable well-being expert. Essentially, I'm in the health and wellness realm, and I really focus and specialize in body awareness, body intelligence, to support that sustainable connection. So it's not we feel good and then we crash and burn, because I've done that for a long time and it's just not pretty. So I have learned as an energetically sensitive being how to come back in tune with my physical as the spiritual. And that's what I'm here to share with you today, what that means. And I also want to first thank Reverend Ian for offering this generous time and space for me to share my ministry as we continue to celebrate him, the leaders of leaders, and really supporting us to connect with our own leadership, our own ministry. And this physical is the spiritual is one of my ministries, one of my calling of being here. So thank you. And thank you all for being here, because I couldn't do it without you. As Ernest Holmes says, there's some beautiful quotes that Reverend Ian has already spoken to. The physical body is evolved for the purpose of allowing consciousness to function on this plane. The body is necessary to this plane, since only through a physical body can we properly function here. So this is our vessel. We are incarnated. There is that reality, our divine humanity. Both coexist, and both are the same, which I'm going to expand on what that means. Why do we want to tend to our physical? Your life depends on it, really. Your quality of life, potentially the quantity of your life. And we know this as an idea. It makes sense, and there's part of us, as this song, Ancient Wisdom, it evokes. It's like, yes, of course. I mean, I'm stating the obvious. And yet there's a gap. Maybe a chasm sometimes, and are really understanding and appreciating and owning that and honoring that with kindness. So, I've been in the health and wellness realm for lots and lots of years. And we know through technology, through information, we have so much information of what to do to take care of this. We have the internet, you can look up whatever you want, and you will find out information. And yet, sometimes that gap between what to do and how to actually be with our body, there's a disconnect. We can see that. We can see that in our culture. And so what I invite you to do as I offer you some ways to think about this is, first and foremost, be very kind and gentle with yourself. And be curious about the awarenesses that you may receive. Because there's a lot of this around this disconnect, this gap that has been around for it's ancient wisdom, but not in a good way. So Ernest Holmes also says, we do not deny the physical universe. We affirm that it is mind in form. The physical body exists that the soul may function on this plane. Body is not an unreality, quite the reverse. It is a divine and perfect reality when rightly understood. This is the point that I want to make, when rightly understood. So what do you think about what your body is? If you were just for your self-reflection, complete, my body is a, what do you think about it? What do you believe about it? Do the actions that you take and the results that you get line up with what you think? Is there a disconnect? Is there a misalignment? Is like you know what to do, and then it's just sometimes takes a lot of time. So again, this is where the kindness comes in, just to notice what that gap, what that chasm might be. Because the reality, the truth is the physical, is the spiritual. It is, I'm going to show you with more concrete evidence in a little bit that it is the same. It is the same. It is the same. And the potential for when you are connected to spirit, to God, to infinite mind, to grace, to love, to light, to all the words that we describe, the indescribable, when you're connected to that, do you also have the experience of that in your physical self? Is that lined up or is it out of whack? So I want to help bridge that gap, bridge that connection. Or if you're already there, let's just even strengthen that even more. So you can walk around the world as spirit. You know, when I remember, I wake up in the morning and I tell myself, I am a being made of light. I'm a being made of light. And I do my best to just set that and respond to myself throughout the day. And a key to that connection, that sustainable, if you think of like an infinity symbol, is connecting in. How am I feeling? What's happening? What do I need? What is my body telling me? So I want to talk about 3 ways to strengthen this connection. And the first one is release. Release what your body is not. So we're just going to focus a little bit about what we don't want. What your body is not. So there are many, many, many body myths. What I describe as body myths. Myths about our body that have gotten in the way, that some of them are ancient. So for example, a couple hundred years ago, there was the Industrial Revolution, 1700s. Not that long ago in the grand scheme of the time here that human species have been around. And that revolution brought us from farming on the land and being like having to walk to church or walk to school or moving our bodies in lots of diverse different ways and then becoming more industrious, which is great. We got the Model T Ford and lots of other stuff, right? And the impact, the consciousness of that time started to mechanize our society and our movement. So just picture yourself in front of an assembly line and you're standing there, likely, for hours and hours and hours and hours, and you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And around that time, that 1700 time, there was also this desire to understand how the universe works and understand nature and understand the body. And so that mechanistic view of like your body is like a clock. And if something isn't working, well, you just, kind of focus on that one piece and fix it and then put it back together and everything should work just fine. Sound familiar? 1700s, that way of thinking, that way of being, that way of approaching of our body is very mechanistic, has been around for a long time. And I'm telling you, the disconnect started way before that. I just don't have enough time to tell you all of that. There's a lot of myths. So if you find yourself even now feeling like, I just should be doing something all the time, I just got to push through. Or if you measure your self-worth by how much you got done in a day, that's part of that mindset. That's part of that disconnect. And again, we weren't even around in the 1700s, and yet that way of thinking and being, that paradigm has been around, and we just buy into it. We drink the Kool-Aid. We don't even know that we're drinking it. So, what is your body? So the second way, release what it's not. It's not going to happen all today. I know that. It's okay. But if I'm at least expanding your awareness, that's a really powerful step. The second step is to reclaim what your body really is. As Ernest Holmes also says, we are told that matter is not a solid, stationary thing, but a constantly flowing, formless substance which is forever coming and going, an etheric whirl of energy, it has been called. Whatever its nature is, it is as indestructible as God, as eternal as timeless being. Nothing can be added or taken from it. Your body is the spiritual. Your body is energy. Your body is made of energy. We are not mechanical. We are vibrational. So I have a friend here. It's called Slinky. So we experience our body and other solid things as solid. And we appear solid, and even though we know in quantum physics, and again, don't have time to expand on that, there's a lot more science that shows and tells we are not really very solid, in fact. We are so much more spacious, but we appear this way. So this is what we appear as dense, but in fact, we're energetic, we're vibrational, and this is what is possible for us. And when we experience our body as this, and heavy and tight and contracted, is because we have forgotten that we're this. And the difference between this and this is listening, is tuning in, is tending, is taking a nap when you're tired, eating nutritious food when you're hungry, hydrating yourself, moving, all of the things that we call health and wellness. This is what makes the difference between this and this, experiencing it. We still walk around the world like this, yet the vibration that we put out makes that difference. Our thoughts are vibration, our feelings are vibration, the sensations in our body are vibration. Are you tense and tight and stressed out and putting that vibe out? Or are you relaxed and open in thought, in emotion, and sensation in your body? Thank you. All right, I'll hydrate myself now. Practice what I preach. I love water. It's my favorite beverage. You can ask my husband. So just to expand on this another moment, if we were to take this Slinky and expand our energy by taking care of our body, and we take this up and out, 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 out to the sky, to the universe, out to the cosmos, this is the physical as the spiritual. And if we went as far as we could and then started to condense and condense and condense and condense and condense our energy until it looks like a human form, this is what we are. This is the truth of who we are. The physical is the spiritual. You're a Slinky. Who knew? So the last point I want to make of how to make this real, I'm really like how to, right? And, here in this space, practices are everything, right? We come here, we get refreshed, we get inspired, and then we need to practice. So we experience what we are thinking about and make that more real. So this third way I want to talk about is reveal. Reveal the truth. So that's the idea of the truth. These are wonderful words on paper, wonderful, beautiful quotes. And I know in your cells, you're like, yeah. There's a part of your body that's like, yes, thank you very much for recognizing me as such. And I also know that when we're shifting paradigms, when we're trying on new thoughts and beliefs, that there's a part of us that knows that to be so. It's helpful to have evidence. So I want to give you a couple of points of reference within your body as evidence. One of them is inspiration. Inspiration, one of the definitions is a divine influence or action on a person believed to qualify him or her to receive and communicate sacred revelation. So take a breath. You are constantly being inspired. Your inhale. You're constantly having sacred revelation through your breath. The universe is breathing through you all the time, and you don't have to work at it. You get to just breathe. You're constantly being inspired. Now, there's ways that we can interrupt that process or not optimize our inspiration, and that is always there. Another point I want to make is love. You have this physiology built in to one branch of your nervous system that supports your experience of love, your vibration of love. Simply, when life happens, we have a couple responses. We can go into stress, which sometimes can be positive or negative. It's just a change in our environment. And our body amps up. We get ready to fight, to flight, to flee, to freeze. We get ready. Again, it's not always like a negative thing, but our physiology turns up the volume. Well, guess what? There is another branch of your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, that's as complicated as I'll get, that turns down the volume from all of this to this. And it calms you down. And it allows you to be open and receptive. It allows your body to heal itself. That's built in. You don't have to go out and get it. You don't have to order it on Amazon. It is built in. It's built in. You do have to turn it on. You do have to turn it on. And the last thought that I'll share with you is abundance, because this is an important one, right? You have 50 trillion cells in your body. I can't even, my brain just, I don't know. I don't even know what that is. 50 trillion cells. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that if you ever think you are not enough, you have 50 trillion cells of your body waiting for you to wake them up and energize them and fill them with life force energy so spirit can come through you. You are enough. Thank you.